Coming up on the Making Waves VO podcast.
What in the world? Why would you say this now? Why? I could have gone the rest of my life and not known this.
Oh,
Could you though, Kevin? I think that's pertinent information you needed.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves. Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
This is the Making Waves VO podcast with Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobbi Maxwell.
The Making Waves VO podcast is presented by Full Compass, fullcompass.com.
We know VO.
Bobbi, so good to talk to you. It feels like it's just been a matter of hours since we last chatted.
Imagine that. Yeah, we do tend to catch up quite a bit.
Yeah, big weekend this past weekend with VO Atlanta happening, and then there was the Reed Awards going on as well. And it's me and Bobbi, but we're also going to bring on Lacey. As you know, Lacey produces the podcast. She's there pretty much every single time we're doing the podcast, and just kind of monitoring in the background and listening for the chuckleheads, Bobbi and I, to make mistakes so she can fix them in post. So Lacey Deline, voice actor extraordinaire and producer of the podcast, welcome to the Making Waves VO podcast.
Hi.
Hey, Lacey.
Hello.
On this episode, Bobbi had the great idea to talk about motivation and what motivates us in the voiceover world, and things that maybe we picked up in our past that we can go to whenever we're having downtime or whatever, and we're not thinking the best of ourselves. We can go back and go, you know what? That motivates me. That fires me up. I'm going to keep moving forward. So, Bobbi, tell me about this. What was the impetus of this idea for you?
You know, we all hit those imposter syndrome moments or our low moments, and if you look back on your year or just the past month or so, there are times when you just all of a sudden get that, I'm gonna work on this, or I'm gonna kill this, and you just get that enthusiasm for the business again. And I thought, why not highlight what those things are? So if we reach back and think of the moments somewhere we've attended or something said to us, it might work for everybody else who's having those moments. I didn't book a single job last week because of the 2 conferences that I attended, and normally I would be going, oh my God. But I also walked away with a lot of fresh feelings and information from both those conferences, and it overtook that, woe is me, doom and gloom attitude that I would have normally had.
If you'd had a week without booking it.
Yeah.
So the Reed Awards, are those in Dallas? They were in Dallas this year.
Austin.
Or Austin. Is that a conference with that too, or is it just awards?
It is a conference. They have actually a couple of conferences a year, and this one was just the overall where it's they do the awards, so the best of political in the previous year, and then they have also a creative conference is the other one they do.
And what is entailed in the creative conference part of that?
The creative conference is just the creatives of the business, so those who are producing spots, whereas the main conference, which was this one, you have anything and everything about political. So like the post office is there. You have people who are doing robocalling. You have people who run the buses for the politicians. That get them from point A to point B. So yeah, it's a little bit of everybody.
So is it an amazing marketing opportunity for a voice actor to be in front of all those creative producers?
If it's the creative conference, absolutely, because those are the people that are going to hire you. The other one, you have to kind of weed through it because and it's a big, big conference. I think this was the biggest one ever, they said. So, you kind of have to narrow it down. But it's nice because they have the app and it tells you exactly what they do, and you can connect that way and find them on LinkedIn, and it's all good. I walked away with some good contacts.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. So, Bobbi, congratulations on your nomination because you were nominated for a big award. Wasn't it? You were nominated for the Best Person on Earth of the Year, right? Wasn't that what it was?
That.
Yeah, 100%. What was the category again?
It was Best Political Voice Artist of the Year. Yeah.
I was so close. But seriously, that is an amazing accomplishment. Best Voiceover Artist of the Year. And unfortunately, you did not take that home. But I'm serious. That to be nominated for something like that is pretty dang cool. Now, did you draw motivation from that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that like you said, I'm not going to lie, it is a really big category, and it will stand out to those folks who are there at the conference, because if they're thinking of how many people are doing political voiceover and it's been narrowed down to 5 or 6 people, we're going to take a closer look at them. And, when I go back to market, now that I'm done with the conference, of course I'm going to say, I may not have met you, but I was nominated for Voiceover Artist of the Year. So it just helps. And that will stand out, I think, in my email. At least I hope it does anyway.
Yeah. And I think in your marketing, you can totally say, because of my passion for the work, something to that effect, that's maybe why you're nominated, and you can help their clients, achieve their goals with your passionate voice. All right, Bobbi, I'm going to get with you again in just a minute. Going to ask you about some other areas, maybe besides conferences and awards, things that might motivate you. But I want to ask Lacey, because we're still kind of in the conference vein. So Lacey and I were together at VO Atlanta this year. And Lacey, you are a few years into this voiceover world, and now you've done a handful of conferences and the like. And this year's, did you get a lot of motivation after leaving this year's conference?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I get a lot of motivation after each conference, honestly. But what's been interesting is going from a beginner and going to the conference, and then going now when I'm so far into my career.
As an established pro.
You said it, not me. But the motivation, where I find it's so interesting where it comes from, because like in the beginning, when you're a beginner, all of that motivation is, oh my gosh, there's so much new information. I met so many new people. I'm connected, and these are actionable items that I can do. Like, I know how to market now. I know how to write an email. I know like the equipment I need, or at least know who to talk to get equipment, all this kind of stuff. And now that I'm in this, a lot of the motivation comes from the more nuanced conversations that I can have with other industry big hitters of like, wow, I'm so inspired by that person, or wow, that speech was really amazing, or oh my gosh, that's an acting technique that I've never even heard of. And it's basically, I'm just saying, since going to VO Atlanta from a beginner to now, it's been really cool where I find my motivation and my passion to like keep moving forward.
You don't want to miss what's next. Making Waves returns momentarily.
Hello, this is Tom Pinto, voice actor and coach. And whenever I'm done listening to myself, I listen to Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobbi Maxwell, the hosts with the most.
Oh, Bobbi, I remember getting into voiceover, and one of the most exciting parts about getting into voiceover is buying all the gear. You don't realize that until you become a voice actor and you got to produce your own stuff. And you go, ooh, this part should be fun. But then you go, I have not a clue on what I'm supposed to buy.
Exactly.
That's why you trust your good friends at Full Compass, fullcompass.com. They know VO there, and you're going to have a great selection of pro audio gear, and you're going to get a lot of good help. And there's a lot of good attributes that go along with buying from Full Compass.
Yeah, so if you're not really sure when you got the piece of equipment and you have questions about it, they have a free 2-year service or repair plan. They have free shipping on orders over $49. I love that. I think my favorite thing is the low price guarantee, because you just never know. You said a second ago that you're getting into this and you don't know what you need, but how about, do you know if you're paying the right price for it? So you don't have to worry about that when you shop at fullcompass.com. They'll guarantee to match the price on the products they sell for new, identical, and immediately available products offered at a lower price.
They have flexible financing, Bobbi, and they also have free expert assistance, and that's why we say we know VO at Full Compass.
Everything from microphones to interfaces to headphones to mic booms, they've got it.
If you have any questions and you're more old school and you want to call them on the phone, you can call Full Compass at 800-356-5844. Full Compass and fullcompass.com.
We know VO. Now back to the podcast. Did you get a chance to read for anybody there that you're like fond of, like a casting person or anything like that?
Yes, I did. I got to read in front of Portia Scott,
Nice.
who's an agent with
Coast to Coast.
Coast to Coast. Yeah, sorry, I was about to say CESD, and I'm like, nope, wrong one. Other C word. And then I got to read in front of Jeff Howell, who is a dubbing caster and director. He's done a million and one different amazing projects through Netflix, Hulu, just anything like that. And dubbing is the way I want to go. So that was a really incredible opportunity to get to read in front of him.
And that's a motivator in itself.
Oh,
Yeah.
incredibly so. Yes.
The other motivator is I had a conversation with Jeff as well, and he was talking about he's expanding his Netflix wants him to expand his dubbing roster. So
Wow.
I think somebody like Lacey would be a perfect fit
Yeah.
for something like that. I take away similar motivations that Lacey talked about, those conversations that you have with people. I made some connections with folks that I didn't even know if they knew I existed. Didn't matter, but it's just so cool and validating when you go and meet somebody and they're like, "Hey, Kev, fan of your work," and I'm like, "You know me? You know me?"
Absolutely.
And so that's cool. And then when you got people that are saying, "Yeah," and this is the kind of thing when drinks are flowing a little bit, but you feel the honesty and sincerity too behind it all. And you have people that are saying, "Hey, I'm going to say something to so-and-so for you. Hey, I'm going to say something to so-and-so for you."
Mm-hmm.
And just, it's so cool to have your peers go to bat for you. They don't have to. But if you, and so that is part of the motivation for me too.
Yeah. If I can just add on to that, if you don't mind, like it also is incredibly motivating to be that person who says, I want to talk about you to somebody. I want to mention you to somebody I know. I went to this conference with a bunch of people that I've met in Texas since I recently moved. And it was so incredible getting to be like, hey, this is an industry big hitter that I'm good friends with. Hey, this is my friend from Texas. He's got an incredible range and he'd be perfect. I think you guys would be good friends. Like, I want to talk to them about other people. And that's just a big motivator too, being on both sides of that coin.
Right.
100%. I get so much satisfaction, and I think I've told both of y'all before, is I get satisfaction of telling somebody that they've been cast in something. Like I did it to Lacey, and I tortured her a while back when I told her that she got cast for a gig.
Yeah, that was really fun. Thanks.
But yeah,
you
welcome.
mean you were
but,
you were teasing with her and then you kind of held it
I
off?
basically, and we'll get back to the motivation in just a second, but I called her and I was like, "Lacey, we need to talk about some stuff." And she's like, "Oh no," like thinking this, I'm assuming. And yeah, it's about the podcast. Psych, I'm just kidding. You booked that gig, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, "Kevin, I hate you." And
You are like the king of surprises. You really are.
Oh, he's a little prankster.
He is. He's that.
one of these days it's going to come back and bite me in the butt because somebody's going to get me good one day.
Right. And you know what? I was going to mention what you were just talking about a few minutes ago when Marie Westbrook came up to us on the last night. I mean, Marie is a legend now. She's doing trailer, for God's sakes. For women, that's just amazing. And the fact that she knew who we were and came up and gave us hugs, that just makes you feel like you've almost, you're arrived. You really are legit in this business now. And I love that.
And that's motivating too. And that's, part of the stuff I was talking about. I'm taking that away from the conference for motivation. And then I'm taking some stuff away from, I did a couple of promo workouts there and got in front of CNN again. And I feel like I, solidified that connection some more. And then I worked with Jeff Howell on some promo stuff. And Jeff, I'm taking this inspiration from Jeff. And I really am. Because he went around the room towards the end of our reads, and I think we were done reading at that point. He was just going around and saying, "Hey, what kind of promo styles do you like? What genres in promos? Because you can go crime, you can go warm drama, you can go comedy, all and on and on." And I was like, I like the dark stuff. I do. I like getting scary and, trying to scare people. And I said, conversely, I do like to do the bright stuff too, because I like happy stuff too. And he kind of interrupted me almost. He goes, "Kevin, yeah, the dark stuff, whatever. But your voice is so bright and joyful. He goes,
Aw.
you really need to focus on that area of promo, like the Hallmark, the HGTV, the Food Network, that kind of stuff. So that was encouraging from somebody like him, who's been doing this a minute,
Yeah.
to say that to me because he obviously has a good ear. So I'm taking motivation from that too, and then just all the conversations and all the people, and from my presentation that I did, they seem to get a lot out of it, and so I'm taking motivation from that as well.
And Lacey, I don't know if we told you this or not, and Kevin's going to yell at me for telling this on the podcast, but myself and Rob Reed were just in the hallway, and Denise from CNN came up and was talking, because Rob had taken her X session as well, which Kevin was in on, right? You were together, the same one, yeah. And so she didn't know we were friends with him at all. And so Rob says, the talent in that room was just amazing. And there was probably, 12 of you, right? And she goes, it just blew me away. She goes, especially that Kevin Kilpatrick, he was just like, blew it out of the water. He was so good and so spot on. And Rob and I are just kind of smiling. And Rob goes, oh, Kev's my roommate. And I went, oh, Kev is my work husband. I said, we both know him. She goes, oh. And so it was totally not,
It was organic, Bobbi?
Yes.
Are you lying to me? Are you messing with my head?
No, she did not know that we knew you. And that was the name out of her X session that came to the top of her mind.
That means a lot. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
So
and
cool.
yeah, and she's a great lady, and she's so open and inviting in terms of creating relationships with folks, and she's very open about the fact that she looks for new talent at VO Atlanta.
Wow.
So maybe I'll be one, maybe Rob will be one, and Bobbi, you need to get in front of her, and Lacey, you need to get in front of her, because Lacey's sound will be a sound that is viable on CNN before at some point. Bobbi, Rob, and I are very viable where we are in our careers right now for CNN. So it's just great inspiration going to these things. And Lacey, I was telling Bobbi a little while ago before we got on the mics that so Bobbi kind of introduced me to the world of conferences. I'll go back to this conversation that we had in 2018, and I think it was right at the beginning of 2018. And she's like, "Are you going to VO Atlanta?" And I go, "What's a VO Atlanta?" I had no idea. And she's explaining, "It's a voiceover conference, blah, 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 blah." Boom. I said, "Yeah, I think I'll check that out." And so 2018 was the very first conference I went to about
Was it
voiceover.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2019 was my first one.
Well, you're barely behind me.
I
So
know.
so she introduced me to that. And so since 2018, and that's when I kind of had my career reset on, I've been doing my automotive thing for years, over a decade at that point, and just kind of living in that world. And then I had a reset. I wanted to refocus on why I got into voiceover to begin with, and that is to do national work, promos, trailers, documentaries, and national commercials. So 2018, boom, started doing all this stuff. Workshops, conferences, retreats, all these things, coaching, training, one-on-one, all these things. So talk about ROI. And you can argue that the radio helped me in my career. But Bobbi will tell you that radio can hurt you. And Lacey can tell you, too, that radio can hurt you.
Oh, yeah.
So thus the training and stuff. So that being said, I have doubled my income since 2018.
Wow.
No joke. Since 2018, my numbers are double what they were in 2018 to present day. And I credit that to putting myself out there in the voiceover universe to do this stuff, to interact, to train, and glean all these things from all these peers that I work with that are great and amazing. And I think we're all good in our own ways, right? But hey, what are they doing to make them great and amazing? Maybe I could borrow a little of that juice and then get a little salt from over here and a splash of paprika from over here. Anyway.
Yeah.
Now he's cooking.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, think if you were to sit at home in your booth all the time and just had your family talking to you about, something that you did that you voiced that day or you produced, as opposed to hearing people who are also out there doing it, or especially coaches or casting people or whomever, it's going to make a difference. So when they say you got to invest to get something back, that's exactly what they mean, because you're getting all these little tidbits of things that could really propel your career, and it's worked for you.
Thanks for saying that.
Hola, this is Jenny Alvarez, and you're listening to the Making Waves VO podcast with Kevin and Bobbi.
Bobbi, I'm coming back to you in just a second, but Lacey, we're talking about motivation. We talked about kind of conferences and how that can motivate you, the elements of the conference that can motivate you. But what about, Lacey, the outside world? Not necessarily outside of VO, but maybe it could be outside of VO. Anywhere other than conference spaces, where are you getting your motivation for your work?
This is going to sound so cheesy, and I mean this as sincerely as I can.
Let me grab the wine real quick for all this cheese.
Yeah, enjoy it. Genuinely, I get a lot of motivation from my friends and family. My mom and my husband and my best friends are truly my biggest supporters. They are constantly, rooting for me. They, my video game just came out, and we have a group chat together, and they were all like, all right, I'm going to Steam right now. I'm buying it. My mom, she, any electronic, she calls an Atari. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be a phone.
Such a mom.
Yep. She's like, oh my gosh, Lacey, are you on the Atari? I'm like, yeah, but it's a computer. But when my video game came out, she asked the little high schooler that lives next to her if he wouldn't mind, she'd buy the game, but if he would just play it for her so she could watch, all of my stuff.
That is the sweetest.
It is. And it's all of my friends are like that. My husband's my biggest fan. He played through the entire game. All of my commercials that come out when I was first starting, my husband went to any radio station he could to listen to them. He downloaded all of the local apps in order to just listen to anything. It's just the people around me truly are incredibly motivating for me.
And that's going to be a common theme, Lacey. I guarantee you among the voiceover community, that is going to be a common theme. Conversely, I've heard a story of a gal that was at VO Atlanta. Now, I don't know if her head was wrapped around the voiceover business model properly, and all the things it might take. All she kept doing, though, was kvetching about her husband dragging her down and saying she can't do it in these things.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know how to read that because I knew the individual a little bit, and I had some questions in my head about the discipline and focus and those kinds of things. But you can't have those distractions in the outside world. That's for sure. Lacey, I did want to add something. Your mom, every computer's at Atari.
Yeah.
So when my mom and I, we'll talk about my business and stuff. And she, bless her heart, she's 85. She just turned 85 in January. And she knows I do voices. She knows I do that. But she doesn't understand the concept of voice actor so much. But she talks about, well, Kevin, you did it. You always talked about when you were in high school that you're going to have your own advertising agency. And you did it. You did it. I mean, she knows I make commercials. She knows I voice. And so she equates that to having an advertising
Oh my
agency.
gosh, that's so funny.
Thank God she hasn't seen your Peyronie's disease.
Oh, she has. She has.
No.
Because, well, here's why. Oh, and she let me have it. Because it was running during baseball, and I knew my oldest brother and my mom were watching baseball, and I texted my brother and I said, hey, my medical commercial for Peyronie's disease just ran, and they had missed it. When I got together with them Thanksgiving, they wanted to see it, and so I showed them the actual spot. I'm like, that's me asking, why is it crooked down there? And then I don't know how, oh my gosh, I don't know how this segued into this story about my dad. Rest in peace. He died in 2008.
Oh my gosh.
But she goes, Kevin, I've never told you this, but your dad had a third testicle.
What? Mom! What in the world? Why would you say this? No!
I could have gone the rest of my life and not
Without
known
knowing.
this.
Oh,
Could you though,
mothers.
Kevin? I think that's pertinent information you needed.
Why? And so that's how it turned really sideways when I brought up the...
That's so funny.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So, Bobbi, so we were talking about various ways to get motivated and different things like that.
I know. I think Kevin's like 20 shades of red right now.
I am.
Or 50
Yeah,
shades of gray. I don't
Oh,
I had to look up what is polyorchidism. Polyorchidism.
is that what that is?
Oh.
Having a
Or
third testicle?
triorchidism. Triorchidism is the old 3 testicle.
Oh, stop.
Wow. You know, you learn something new every day.
Hey, here's another one, by the way, little squirrel. Y'all didn't know, but I've been suffering in silence all these years from Morton's toe.
And what is
Do you know
that?
what Morton's toe is? I've been suffering in silence, y'all.
I don't know. What is
You don't
it?
know what Morton's toe is?
I don't know. Something to do with salt? I don't know.
No. Morton's toe is when your second to biggest toe is longer than your big toe.
Oh, now I gotta look. Oh no. Do you really have that?
I do, yeah.
I
My
thought
second
that was supposed to mean that you're gonna be rich. That's what somebody told me when I was younger.
It's called Morton's toe. Morton's toe is a foot condition where the second toe is longer than the big toe. That's all it is. It does. But I've been suffering in silence all these years.
Everybody listening to the podcast is looking at their feet right now.
It's such a weird thing. I saw that on something years ago, and I locked it in because I'm like, I have Morton's toe. And so I just locked it in as a point of being amusing down the road. That's all.
You're amazing. Hang around. We'll be back shortly.
Well, hello there. I'm AJ McKay, voice actor, demo producer, and audio engineer. And you're listening to the Making Waves VO podcast with my good friends, love these guys to death, Kevin Kilcarney and Bobbi Maxwell. What's that? Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobbi Maxwell. Whatever.
As a voice actor, you want to focus on what's important, right? Like pulling off the perfect read. You don't want to stress about tech stuff. That's why Full Compass is in your corner. With 50 years experience in pro audio, Full Compass has everything we voice actors need. Mics, headphones, monitors, mixers, interfaces, DAWs, all the goodies. And their certified product experts help with everything they sell. Plus, you can get free same-day shipping, flexible financing, and a low price guarantee. See it all at fullcompass.com. Fullcompass.com. They know VO.
Making Waves returns. Bobbi, we're talking about motivation and what motivates us in the VOMO. What else motivates you besides conferences? And, do you get motivation from your family or outside sources? What?
Just keeping it in the business, 2 things. When I do a workshop or a workout with an agent or a casting person, and when they give you the great feedback, especially when they say, I don't know what to tell you to do with that. You're just like, you're beaming. That is the biggest motivator of, anything that has to do with a workout or workshop. But I'll tell you what, overall, what invigorates me more than anything is to book a brand new client. And if you get 2 or more in, a given week, it's like a huge inspiration. It gets me up earlier in the morning. It just gets, it just motivates me. It makes me want to stay in the studio instead of taking a nap at like 2 p.m. And booking, that means you're still on the mark. You've got it.
I love it. Well,
How
this
about
has
you,
been
Kev?
Well, besides, let's see, like, my peers and stuff like that, and family members, I do to an extent. I do agree with what you're talking about. Got shortlisted for a pretty cool gig about 2 weeks ago. But then they got
Shortlisting is cool. Yeah, that's a good motivator.
I was actually put on hold, and they were like, day before, Kev, they decided to go another direction. But it's still cool. I like being around the rim. So something's going to fall. But that is motivating to me, knowing that you've been shortlisted, you've been put on hold. That motivates me. I don't know what it is, but I get motivation from achievements from different genres, maybe. I get a fire in my belly to try to get somewhere in some genre.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hyper-focused on some things right now. So I'm motivated right now. And I don't know where that comes from unless it's just a burning desire to not prove people wrong, but to prove that, yeah, I can do it. So I don't know where that comes from. But I am inspired by so many people in our business, too, that are kind, giving, and caring. And they've done it and they've achieved all these things. And I draw inspiration and motivation from them.
You know, Lacey, Kevin had said something to me, it's probably been a month, almost 2 months ago, that I really took to heart, and I want to try to do it. I've already seen him doing it on social, and I think this is amazing. When you're recognized by someone else in the business, it puts a little skip in your step, even if it's, even if it's a spot that you did that some people aren't comfortable with putting their finished work on social media. But Kevin said, I am going to start, saying, oh, I was out such and such, and I heard Karin Gilfrey on a spot in the wild on his social media.
Yeah.
And, we are a great community, and we're all very close. We're tight-knit. But I think that's one of the best things you can do for your fellow voiceover talent. And a great idea, Kev.
Well,
yeah,
thanks.
absolutely.
And
wow.
I've got 3 others of VO Friends in the Wild. I need to package that, and maybe come up with an intro and outro, a bookend, video piece in and out of that. But I've got 3 more ready to go, and one is yours, Bobbi. It was so crazy, but you may recall, and Lacey knows our Tennessee weather, but Bobbi, is 3 or 4 weeks ago, we had some nasty storms, and I think it was on a Tuesday, a Wednesday night. It was during the middle of the week. Well, we lost power for about an hour. And I have a little mini generator thing. It's just a plug-in thing. It's a big battery generator. It's not a gas one, but it's enough to power some electronics and get Wi-Fi if you need to. Well, Deborah and I we just said, you know what? We'll just put on a fire because it was still pretty cold. That will create some light. And then I went upstairs and grabbed my old laptop. I didn't want to unplug the one that I use for work. But my old laptop I keep there and I mess with it and do things on it. Mostly it's a big monitor or an expensive old monitor. But I was like, I wonder if I've got any movies on here or anything that we could watch to kill however much time it's going to. And I pulled up and I just put in a search .mov because I knew any kind of movies I'd have would pop up. And what populates in my thing on this old computer were 2 old crime documentaries that Bobbi had narrated from, what was the True Crime Network.
True Crime Network. Oh, you're kidding me.
I'm not. And so Deborah and I watched back-to-back episodes of you narrating these older true crime documentaries.
Oh, cool.
During a power outage.
And I got a neat picture that I took that shows the screen of the dock and then the fires in the background, and it's all dark otherwise. So it's kind of neat. So I'm going to kind of highlight that.
I love it. Because we sometimes we hear, and you know that voice. I mean, it's very recognizable, whether it's a friend or it's a legend in the industry. And just to mention that in case they don't for themselves, it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a great idea. It reminds me of when I was ordering from Pizza Hut and I was put on hold and I heard Kevin's voice. I told Zach, my husband, I said, hang up, call back. And we called back and I recorded it and I sent it to Kevin and I was like, oh my God, there you are.
I did the same thing. I had no idea he did Pizza Hut.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
are you serious, Bobbi?
No, this was like 2 years ago. Don't you remember I called you or I texted you and I said, you do Pizza Hut on hold?
Yeah. Lacey just edited one today. Y'all got to give me a second. When was that, Lacey?
The one that I sent you?
Yeah.
It was last summer. It was just right after I'd moved to Texas, so it had to have been sometime in July or August.
I got to find that, Bobbi. I'm going to try to find that little piece of audio because it made me crack up. Oh my gosh. And so this should put a bow on it. Give me a second. Lacey, we can edit this part out if we need to.
Yeah, I got
it. Words. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. All right. Y'all stand by. All right, let me see.
Freshly baked pizza. And no one is more passionate about pizza than Pizza Hut. It's in our name. And that's why we remain committed to quality ingredients. Yeah, go get it! Tomatoes.
Did you hear Lacey go, yeah, go get it? Lacey, that
so
motivated
excited.
me. It did. It was so funny, but it inspired me. It fired me up to know that you heard me in the wild, and then you acknowledged it to me, and it was just so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. My friend Amy does the self-checkout at Target. And every time I go in there, I actually talk to her. It's like, oh, thanks, Amy. You have a good day, too.
That's so cute.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, this has been a fun Making Waves VO podcast, y'all.
It has been. And let's get motivated.
Yeah,
let's make some waves.
Oh, yeah.
Any final words, Lacey?
I'm just appreciative of you and Bobbi and everyone around me. I guess I just want to say that when we're talking about motivation, I quite literally wouldn't have the career that I do right now without people like you, without people like Christy Bowen, without conferences like Voice Over Atlanta and One Voice. So just, it's all worth it. At meeting people and investing in yourself like that, it's always worth it.
I love it.
Yes.
Bobbi, what are you motivated to do now?
Oh, go take a nap.
Yeah,
No, just kidding.
that's what I'm talking about.
No, you know what I'm really motivated to do right now? I've been out of town for a bit. I'm motivated to get my invoices out there so I can get some money.
Get that bag, girlfriend.
Heard. Well, y'all, let's keep crushing. Let's keep grinding.
All righty.
Thank you, Lacey, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's always so fun.
Absolutely. The Making Waves VO podcast is presented by our good friends at Full Compass. Oh, wait, real quick. If you attended VO Atlanta, you can get 20% off through the end of April by using code VOATL25 when you check out at Full Compass and buy all your goodies.
Some exclusions do apply, but it's pretty much, a lot of everything. So make sure you get the code, call them, go to their website, whatever you got to do, but take advantage of it because it's only through the end of April. 20% off.
The Making Waves VO podcast presented by Full Compass, fullcompass.com.
We know VO.
Bye, Bobbi. Bye, Lacey.
Bye.
Bye.
The Making Waves VO podcast is produced by K2 Media Productions with hosts Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobbi Maxwell. Sound design and editing by Jason Traver. Production assistance by Lacey Deline. Publicity and social media by Shannon Scott and Silas Phillips. Be sure to subscribe to the Making Waves VO podcast on your favorite platform. For all episodes, merchandise, gear, and more, visit makingwavesvo.com. Until next time, I'm AJ McKay. Keep making waves.